here. There we go. So we're recording. So welcome to Flipgrid for student engagement and collaboration. I thought that the points on the screen here would be some potential paths for us to explore today. They kind of made sense to me. So starting with how to access Flipgrid, creating a grid and responding to a topic. As a teacher, you'd be able to create a topic. There's something in Flipgrid called the Disco Library. So we'll go through what that is. And then as well, how to share this grid, how to communicate this to students in various ways so that they know where to click and where to go. If something comes up that hasn't been addressed, please feel free to unmute your microphone and ask. I just ask that you keep your microphone muted while while you're just listening, and that helps to cut down on any ambient noises or background noises. You can use the chat window as well, and I'll do my utmost to keep tabs on the chat window, but if you've been in the help desk before, you know that I'm not the best for that. So if I do miss your question, please don't let me end the call without answering it. So let's talk a little bit about what Flipgrid is. Flipgrid can be found online at flipgrid.com. It's a way to facilitate asynchronous class discussions through video clips. Much of what we're going to be doing with students over the next few months is going to necessarily be asynchronous because students are going to have varying schedules. Some of them are going to be helping out with childcare at home or other responsibilities at home, or they're going to be sharing devices and may not have their device when we want to connect them, say synchronously on a Google Meet or something like that. And so using an app like Flipgrid allows students to still respond, much like a classroom discussion, but it's just over a prolonged period. They can also hear their classmates' responses in Flipgrid, and you can guide them through topics, or Flipgrid calls them topics, but really those are the questions that you're asking or the prompts that you're giving them. Each grid is like a message board where teachers can pose questions or topics, and their students can respond to videos, to the posts through video. Students over time can learn to articulate their ideas with well-planned responses and consider alternate viewpoints by listening to each other. And that might be something that develops over time because as students get familiar with Flipgrid, they'll realize that, oh, hey, I can plan this out. I can decide before I hit record what I want it to look like and what I want to say exactly. It can be a great way to gather student responses delivered at their own pace without kids feeling on the spot. And so even back in the classroom, when we return to in-person classes, Flipgrid can be a way to invite those responses from students who might feel a little anxious or stressed by responding on the spot. They can respond at their own time and still be an important part of that classroom discussion. Finally, this is an engaging way for teachers to foster discussion and collaboration in a space that feels like the best parts of social media without the free-for-all feeling of Facebook or Twitter or things like that. We'll see that these Flipgrids are not wide open like YouTube. We can create ways for only our students to access them, and I'll show you what that looks like. So to access Flipgrid, as I said, you would go to flipgrid.com on the internet. Now, before we go through the sign up process, and you can sign up, it's free, but I thought it might be neat to just try out a Flipgrid. And so to try out a Flipgrid, if you were a student or a participant, you would click the button, you would go to flipgrid.com and then click enter a flip code. And so if you want, and I encourage you to do so, you can go to flipgrid.com while we're on the call here and type the flip code ET help desk, all lowercase, and that will take you here. I'm just going to type that into the chat window so you can copy and paste it. Oh, here we go. There we go. And so as we're on the call here, if you want, and I encourage you to do so, click that link and give it a try. When you type in the code, it's going to ask you to log in because I've set up this particular ET Help Desk Flipgrid to only accept spschools.org or 5565.ca email addresses. So I'm going to click Login with Google here. And that's the easiest way for teachers and students to sign in to access and respond to a Flipgrid. And sorry, it's just taking a moment here. There we go. When you, as a student, are looking at the Flipgrid, it'll have the title of the grid. So this is called Learn to Flipgrid. And the topic here is Say Hello on Flipgrid. So it has a little GIF that's just kind of a prompt, visual prompt for this topic. And it has a description here. The nice thing about Flipgrid is it has a built-in text-to-speech reader as well for any of our language learners or young readers or any students that need that support. You can click the blue button here for the immersive reader. It opens into just a new screen here, and students can just press the play button and it'll read those instructions like this.
Welcome to Flipgrid. Tap the green plus below to open the Flipgrid camera. Then, record a short video and, waving hands, say hello. Starstruck, share a fun fact about yourself.
All right, so I'm going to model this as well, and perhaps you're doing the same on your side. What I will do is I'm going to click the green circle with the white plus inside to record a response. So doing so opens up into this little video camera viewer. So I see myself here. I see a couple of other pieces of information. The time up here is a countdown timer. So this topic has been set up for a maximum of 90 seconds for a response. If I forget what the instructions were, I can click this little book to show the topic and remind myself about, okay, I need to say hello and share a fun fact. This is adding a sticky note. And so this sticky note can actually just appear wherever I place it on the screen. So I can just move it around and leave it there for the video call. There's also other features that students will love to use and will be quite novel at the beginning, but over time we can kind of shift this to kind of more curricular and more detailed and specific responses. But definitely there are video filters. You can add text anywhere on the screen. You can add stickers anywhere on the screen. Stickers even come with little accessories like glasses and mustaches and things like that. And then there's a whiteboard option, and I'll explain more about that afterwards, because this would be good for using Flipgrid in math, for example. And then finally, there's a photo sticker as well here. So I'm going to take a quick recording here and show you what that looks like. Counts me in. Hi, my name is Cam. Now I'm going to hit pause here, because what I can do is I can record my Flipgrid response in little segments. I don't need to do it all at once. So I can record a little bit, I can shift, I can even move to another room or get another, show another pose, for example, if I'm showing yoga or something like that. So within that minute and 30 seconds, it's only recording time that is a minute and 30 seconds. And that means that I can pause and move around and get things set up before I keep recording. So I'm gonna keep recording here. One fun fact about myself is that I used to know how to scuba dive. Well, I kind of still do, but I'm not certified anymore. And then I can pause that. If I'm satisfied with my recording, I can click next, and I still have a few more options before I continue. When I click next, I'll get to hear my video.
Hi, my name is Cam. One fun fact about myself is that I used to know how to scuba dive. Well, I kind of still do, but I'm not certified anymore.
Was that blurry for you guys? Because it was pretty blurry for me.
My name is Cam.
I'm going to assume it was blurry for you guys as well. So I'm not sure if that was because I'm also doing a Hangout Meet at the same time. But you know what? If that happens, and I can see on here that it looks like it's actually pretty blurry, even at this part over here.
Hi, my name is Cam.
Let's see. Yeah, it continues to be blurry. So what I could do is I could just delete and re-record it, or I could even trim out part of it, right? By moving this slider along, I can trim out parts of the clip that I don't want, and then just re-record parts of it. So let's say I want to take out that part here that is all blurry after I introduce myself. So I'll move this along and click confirm. So now I have a 3-second clip.
My name is Cam.
And now what I could do is I could go back and add more with this button, or I could just click next. Now for our purposes here, I'm just going to click next and show you how to finally upload the video. The last thing I need to do is I need to take a selfie. And this is kind of like the thumbnail that students and my classmates and my teacher will see all on the Flipgrid. This thumbnail is just a still picture. So I'll smile for the camera, take that picture. And again, I can add stickers and accessories and things like that if I so choose to. This provides a little bit of fun to the videos that we share. There we go. And I'm going to click next here. I'm going to add a title here in just a moment as it comes up. So, hi, I'm Cam. Do some punctuation in there. And then I'm going to click submit video. Now what this does is it just submits it to that grid. If I wanted to, you saw some download options. I could download it for myself, but for students, it just shows up in this grid. So if any of you were trying this as well, or are going to try this, your grids will show up in the same place. And because we all have the code ET Helpdesk or flipgrid.com/ET Helpdesk, your short little videos and my video are all viewable by all of us. They aren't viewable by anyone else who doesn't have the code or who doesn't have an SP Schools or 5565.ca email address, because that's the way I've set up this, this particular Flipgrid. So we're just going to get into next creating a grid, but we've already kind of gone through responding to a topic and how a student might respond to a topic. And we've, so at this point here, what questions are kind of bubbling up, or what wonderings do you have? All right, well, let's go through how to add a grid. So all this view so far is kind of the student view. As you can see, students don't need an account, a Flipgrid account, to join and contribute on Flipgrid. They just need to have their 5565.ca account to access the grid. So they don't need anything more than that, which is kind of nice about Flipgrid. I'm going to close this window here, which was the ET Helpdesk grid, and return to the main window here. And I'm going to click Educator Login. If you don't have one yet, you'll click Educator Sign Up or Educator Sign Up. It's free down here. And please be sure to sign up with your spschools.org email address by clicking the Sign Up with Google button. So it's going to look very similar to this Educator Login screen. Oh, and because I already, sorry, it's just getting me right in because I've already clicked my email address when I was signing into the other ET Helpdesk grid. So to create a grid, once you're in Flipgrid here, you're going to click Add New Grid. It'll probably walk you through this step when you sign up for Flipgrid. So you probably won't even need to click that button. Yeah, through the sign up process, you'll probably get right to this window that says, let's make a grid. Your grid is your class. So I would suggest having a grid for, if I was a junior high teacher teaching math, I would have a Math 7 grid, right? Or a Math 8 grid. And that way all my students in that class would be able to see each other's videos and collaborate on them. If you're an elementary school teacher, you may want to have one grid for your whole homeroom, or you may want to have a grid for each subject area. It depends how you want to organize your grids. Remember that within a grid, you can have many, many, many topics. And so even if you decide to have one grid as a homeroom teacher for your homeroom class, you can have topics that pertain specifically to language arts or math or science and so forth. But everyone who you invite to that grid will be able to see everyone else's videos in that grid. So if you teach multiple classes or multiple sections, just be aware of that, whether you want everyone on one grid or separate grids for each group. So I'm going to call this one Math 5 for my Math 5 class. I can choose different types of grids. School email is best for most of our students. This will prompt them, just like we did with my example grid, to sign in with their 5565.ca Google email address. So this one's pretty simple and easy for most students to access. And this way you can just send them the code, like I did with you, ET Help Desk. You can just send them that code, and then they can sign in with their 5565.ca email address. If you have younger students, you may want to choose the student ID version. This one avoids them having to sign in with their 5565.ca email address. And instead, you just set up a password for each of them. So you'll still give them the flip code, but each student would have their own password or student ID to join the grid. And it's up to you what you want those IDs to be. I would suggest avoiding public and PLCs. This is wide open for anyone to access. They aren't limited by their domain or email address or a password or anything, unless that's the purpose of your Flipgrid. Finally, at the bottom, you can customize your flip code. So when I made mine that I shared with you, I typed ET Help Desk in here. And as you can see, this one's not available because I've already used it. So you might want to choose something that is easy to remember for your students and easily recognizable. So maybe it is Math 5, that's probably not available. So, but maybe they know that it would be 5M Math for me, and that would be available, right? So if I was teaching grade 5, my class was 5M Math, or you might have to have your school abbreviation in there, right? So SPS, 5M Math, or something like that. So a code that would be recognizable and easy to use. So I'm going to leave it at SPS 5M Math and click Next. Oh, sorry. I forgot I left it on student ID. So this is how you would add those student IDs, I guess, since we're here. You'd put in their first name. I would suggest just putting in their last initial, or even using all A and not putting in a last name. So just first name is fine. A last letter here for the last name. And then student ID shouldn't be their student ID for school. This will be their password that you decide to give them for them to use to get into Flipgrid. So those are for our younger learners. I'm just going to go back here and switch it back to school email, and then click Next again. So at this point here, I can specify which domains can access this grid. By default, it adds in spschools.org because that's my email address. But I can also add in 5565.ca and press Enter or Return, and that will add in the student email domain as well. I'm going to click Next here. And my grid is ready. So as you can see here, I have that code, flipgrid.com/SPS5mmath. And I can copy that and paste it into an email. I can put it on my website. I can put it in Google Classroom. I can either copy it and then go to Classroom, or I can just click the Share to Google Classroom button here. And it will prompt me to choose a classroom that I am a teacher in. I'm going to choose my online learning example classroom here. And then I can choose to post it as a specific assignment, a question. I could post it on the stream as an announcement, or I can create some material. So this one here, I'll just create it as material and click Go. So I'm going to post it here as our math Flipgrid. And I'll post it for all students. And in the topic, I'm going to post it as an information topic or an about topic at the top of my classwork section. So that way, whenever they need to access Flipgrid, they always know where to click. Just go to the top of the classwork section and click the link. So I'm going to create that topic called about or information and post it. So I've posted it to my class, and if I want to have a look at what that looks like, I'll just go into Classroom. Here we go. Go into that online learning example class, and I'll click the classwork section here. So that section called About or Information, our Math Flipgrid, is right here. Now, if you have a website that you're using to share with students, the great thing about Flipgrid is that you can use an embed code here. We can copy this embed code, and then we can paste it into either the Google site or the Weebly site or whatever platform you're using. We can place this embed code right in there, and it'll produce a nice visual as well as a button that students can click to get right to your grid. And again, when they click it, they still need to be signed in or will be prompted to sign in to their 5565.ca email address. So even though it's on a publicly accessible website, the Flipgrid itself is still only accessible to our students and our staff. So I'm happy to go through the embed code a little bit more in detail, either at the end of the call or one-on-one. So I'm going to click Go to my grid now. And the thing that I'll notice is that in my brand new grid, Flipgrid has helped me out by posting a topic already. This Say Hello to Flipgrid topic is there. And that's the same one that I used as an example this morning. And so I can either, I can keep this active or I can edit it if I wanted to change it slightly. Maybe I want students to share their family pet or something like that in their introduction. And so I can click edit and get right into how to edit that topic. That's actually our next place to go, is how to create a topic. So maybe I'll pause here and ask if you have any questions about signing up to Flipgrid or creating a grid. All right, well, let's add a topic. Remember, your grid is your class. The topics are the questions you're asking, the prompts you're giving, and they can be all related to one topic, like math in this case, for my math grid, or they can be related to a variety of topics if you have a homeroom grid. To add a new topic, I'm going to click Add New Topic. And here I'm going to type in the topic title. So let's say I want my students to show me what they understand about equivalent fractions. In the prompt section, I can type some text that will give further information. Oh, I've written teach a second grader why 1/2 is equivalent to 3/6. Choose two other fractions that are equivalent and demonstrate. I can adjust the record time up here, anything up to 10 minutes or anything as little as 15 seconds. By default, it stays at 90 seconds. I can add a little focus, and this is optional. But if you remember the one that we tried out had the little GIF of the hand waving. That was just adding a Giphy to our topic. So because this one's about equivalent fractions, Maybe I'll add a Giphy that has something about numbers or fractions. So I'll type fractions here, or fraction. Some of those look pretty complicated, actually. However, this one might work. Let's use that. There we go. So I have that little GIF there as a focus for the topic. Now I can create my topic here. I can click create and it'll be available for my students. I do have more options and I'll click those here and just review them briefly. A topic tip is kind of like a hint that you can provide students, particularly if this is a curricular topic. This will direct students about maybe something to remember or not forget. You can add attachments. You paste a link in here, but the link can be to a Google Doc or a YouTube video or anything else that you can link to on the internet. So if students are using this in conjunction with another assignment that includes Google Slides or Google Docs or something in Google Classroom, just paste the link to any of that information there and add a descriptive title so they know what the link takes them to. You can add up to 9 external links. These Google Docs links and YouTubes and so forth can also be added as the focus up here. You might have noticed that YouTube was one of the options as well as other links. Scrolling down, you have some options around topic status. If you're a little worried about the kind of content that students might upload, you can moderate it. So by moderating it, that means that you have to approve a response before it gets posted on Flipgrid and other students can see it. The status, active, frozen, and hidden can be toggled here. Active means it's live, students can respond to it. Frozen means that students can see it, they can see everything that's been responded to it, but no new contributions can be made. And hidden means that you still have it, it's not deleted, but students won't be able to see it. If you want students to reply to each other on their responses, you can toggle that on or off. And then you can also schedule when these are active. So by default, it's posted right away, but you can change if you want this to post in the future, you can change the start date and you can set an end date if you wish as well. In terms of video features, you can change the styles, like videos and selfies, or just one of those. You can have an option for video titles. Video count is like how many views each video has. Whether students can use sticky notes or not while they're recording. Likes is by default turned off. But if you want students to be able to like each other's videos, you can turn that on. However, I think that's a slippery slope. You can toggle on and off whether students can edit their videos by trimming them, much like I exampled at the beginning. And also toggle on or off whether students can include links to other external documents. So this is pretty handy if they are linking to other information that they're working on as part of the project. Finally, you can change some feedback settings here. With Flipgrid, you might have Flipgrid as an actual assignment or project that students do, and you might provide them with specific criteria about what you expect to see in their Flipgrid response video. Basic feedback is there already, and Flipgrid has the criteria of ideas and performance. But for your curricular specific Flipgrid assignments, you can click custom feedback, and then you can add your own criteria on how that Flipgrid response will be evaluated. Once you're done, click Create Topic. And this topic posts right to the grid that you have. Now notice here that it brings you to this link that is not your Flip code, right? This is flipgrid.com with alphanumeric code at the end. So if I am using Classroom, and if this particular discussion topic pertains to a specific assignment, I can copy this and paste it in Classroom. It's kind of like a direct link just to this topic. Rather than the whole grid that has all the topics, this link will post directly to that topic. And that way my students don't need to click around. So get to Flipgrid, find the topic, respond. Instead, this single link will take them right into that topic in Flipgrid. And again, I have those same share options that I had for my Flip code. I could share it directly to Classroom as an assignment. I can embed it in my website. I can copy it and post it. I can even create a QR code so students can scan it with a QR code scanner. So I'm going to click All Set here. And now in my grids, I'm going to have 2 topics there. So I'm just going to back up here. Right now I see I'm at my equivalent fractions topic, but I'm going to back up to my Math 5 grid. And so here I see I have 2 topics, and I have some features to toggle them right here. Remember, we talked about active, frozen, hidden. I could change that here. Remember, we talked about those share options. I have that here in case I wanted to share it later. It brings me right back to this screen. And I have some other options. Finally, the pencil option allows me to edit that topic and make any changes. Now, order matters within the topics. So right now, equivalent fractions is the first one there. So that means when my students go to SPS 5M Math, the first topic they're going to see is equivalent fractions. And they're going to have to navigate to see the other topics that are there. So let me show you what that means. I'm just going to go as a student, flipgrid.com/SPS5M Math. Now, because I've logged in, this should let me just click log in and take me right there. Oh, no, it's going to prompt me again. I'll click my name. There we go. So again, Math 5 grid, the topic I see is equivalent fractions. If I scroll down, I don't see anything else because here's my add button, and this is the space that will continue to grow as students add responses. To see the Say Hello to Flipgrid topic that I also have, students would need to click over here where it says 2 topics, and then select the Say Hello on Flipgrid one. Now we see that topic instead, and we can toggle back and forth just by clicking the topics over here. So this is another reason why if you have a specific topic that you want to add to a specific assignment, it might be best to share that as a direct link within Google Classroom and attach it right in your section for that math assignment, for example. So the other things I'd like to talk about are using the whiteboard feature when you're responding, going through the Disco library, and I think that's about it. But maybe I'll pause here and ask if you have any questions about creating a grid or creating topics or sharing either of those. All right, it sounds like we're okay to proceed with those other 2 items. To demonstrate the whiteboard, I have a topic here in the ET Help Desk one. So if you want, you can engage with this one too. I'm going to click into this grid. And in addition to the Say Hello on Flipgrid, I have this other one called Would You Rather Math. And so I'm just going to click into this one here and show you what it looks like. This Would You Rather Math asks, would you rather put $3 in the bank and have it triple every week for 4 weeks, or put $4 in the bank and have it quadruple every week for 3 weeks? Make a choice and defend your decision with math. Explain what you would rather have to the class, and remember to show us your reasoning with your work. So I've posted a video here, and here I'm looking at the teacher view, right? That's why it's not in a grid. So I'm going to, by grid, I mean it's not in a grid view with all those thumbnails. So I'm going to show you this response here.
So the first scenario, $4 in the bank, And every week it's going to triple for 4 weeks. So in the first week, 3 times 3 equals 9. In the second week, 2 times 9, 9 times 3 equals 27. And then it's going to triple another time. So it's 60, 81.
So I'm going to pause it here. But as you can see, the whiteboard feature allows students to write even with their finger on a tablet screen or with their mouse and pointer on the laptop or Chromebook that they're using. In the teacher view, I can add some feedback such as comments, and notice that it says add detailed feedback for Cam. So this feedback is visible by me when I'm the student. It's not visible by any other students. I can copy a link to the feedback or email it. I can also use my rubric. And so this one was just the basic rubric that Flipgrid adds with ideas and performance. So for many of your Flipgrids, you probably wouldn't give a score, but if it was part of an assignment, you could definitely have criteria to evaluate it. On the student side of Flipgrid, I'm just going to go to ET Help Desk and sign in here to show you what it would look like for other students. So I'm going to click Login with Google again. It's kind of nice that each time students log in, they need to just verify that, yep, that's me. If they have the iPad app or the iPhone app, they can stay logged in with their device that they own. But there is a pretty slick iPhone app that they can use to easily respond on the go wherever they are. So remember this Say Hello on Flipgrid was the first topic. I'm going to click here to get to my Would You Rather Math topic. And here we see that it shows up as a grid of responses. And if I was another student, I could just click on Cam's response.
So in the first scenario, you have $3 in the bank.
And I would be able to see and hear and listen to Cam's response and get some ideas and maybe even leave a comment to contribute to him. Comments were turned on, so I could reply to Cam and give him some more ideas just by clicking this button here. And then I can give a video response to him with some more ideas or with different ideas or different perspectives. So that's a little bit about using the whiteboard. Oh, I should show you how to use the whiteboard. Click Record a Response. And you're going to click the board one. You have some options here. You can use a whiteboard or a blackboard, or you can just have a clear board, so a transparent one. And I think this would write right on top of you. So let's give that one a try here. So I have a transparent board. And now I'll click my pen tool and choose a marker color. And now I can add drawings right on this clear board. And notice that I haven't hit record yet, so I could get my board set up before I start recording. And then when I hit record, I can still continue writing and drawing in real time as the recording is happening. Mine's a little bit slow and staggered right now, and I think that's because I'm running a few different video applications at the same time. I'm going to pause that here, and I'm just going to X out of that. We don't need to save that one. There we go. The Disco library is the last thing I wanted to show you. So I'm going back to the teacher side here. And the Disco library is kind of like a template library of a whole bunch of grids that have been created by other teachers and even other educational organizations. You can access these and reuse the grids with your own class. So to do that, I'm going to go up to Disco library at the top menu. And I think Disco in this case is short for Discovery. Although it's pretty amazing, right? Like Disco. Disco Library allows you to flip through different organizations that have set things up. Code.org is there, Wonderopolis, Epic. You can take a look at some weekly hits that they've identified and curated. Here are some feature playlists. So these are a series of grids that have been created by different authors. We see Nearpod there, Skype, things like that. Finally, you can actually just search the more than 14,000 topics by audience, subject, and even just keyword here. So I'm going to go up to one that I really like using for my morning meetings, and we often talk about Wonder Wednesday, and so we'll use Wonderopolis for our Wonder Wednesday topics. When I click that, it's going to take me to all of these flips that Wonderopolis has created. So if I wanted to use this first one, for example, can music help you think? I'll just click the topic. I'll have a closer look at it, what the prompt is. I also notice that it links to a Wonder of the Day on Wonderopolis. So when students click this link, they can actually visit Wonderopolis, which is set up with the Wonder of the Day and some images and video that help them find out more information about these curiosities. And if you haven't been to Wonderopolis yet, it's a wonderful website. You can see here that it starts off with that, have you ever wondered? Can music help you think? Does listening to music improve your memory, and so forth? And then it goes through an article here, an article that has a built-in, I believe it has a built-in reader at some point here. Oh, here it is. You can listen with this immersive reader, so that helps with language learners and early readers. It also links to a few videos and pictures that help students think about the topic. But anyway, back to the Disco library. If this is the one I like, I can select a grid to add it to. So let's select it to my Learn to Flipgrid grid that I've shared with you. And I'm going to click Add. Now it doesn't add it, at this point, it can add it without me making any changes. But if I want to customize it, I have those options. I can change the recording time, I can change the prompt, and I can even change what links are added to it and what attachments it has. So I have all of those same customizations that I do as if I created the topic myself. When I'm happy with the topic, I'll click Update Topic, and it will post right into my grid. So to get back to my grid, I'm just going to click back here to my Learn to Flipgrid space. And I see here that it posts at the top. So that's the first one students will see. If I wanted them to still see that math one first, I could just click and drag that one up so that they still see the math one first. If we're done with the Say Hello to Flipgrid, but I still want them to be able to see their videos, I'll just make it frozen. So that way they can't contribute, but they can still see their videos. So that's a little bit about what Flipgrid is, some possible ways you might use it, how to create a grid, which is your class, how to create topics, which are your discussion prompts, and also how you can share it with students and invite them to participate. This is a great time here to just stop and see if you have any final questions before we get to the end of our hour here. My pleasure, Sarah. No problem. So if there aren't any more questions, I'll just leave you with two final reminders and then one final message, I guess. The reminders are, don't forget that we have we have one more ET help desk today. It's this afternoon at noon, and there is no topic specifically set up for it. So this is kind of like a choose your own adventure or choose your own topic. And you can dial in between noon and 1 at the same meet and ask any question about any of the EdTech devices or apps that we've been using. Next week, we intend to continue the help desk and leave it much more open-ended, so just like this afternoon's. However, I think I will schedule a couple around the Google Jamboard app, because teachers have been quite interested in the virtual whiteboard app that we've been using. The other thing I'll remind you about, the second reminder, is that our intranet has been set up here at www.spschools.org. And to get to the intranet, you're going to go to our district website that has actually gotten a nice facelift and a new look to it. But you're going to look for the staff login link at the top of the website. By clicking this, you can sign in with your Google credentials or your first name, last name. and then your password, just like PowerSchool. On the left-hand side, you're going to look for the link for curricular services, and this will take you to some how-to videos for educational technology. There are also lessons and resources and templates and samples that Karen and Christy and Catherine, the rest of the curricular services team, have been busy putting together and collecting and sharing with you. So there's a wealth of information in those ones. The stuff that we've been talking about in terms of Flipgrid is going to be an educational technology. After a message at the top here, you can click to tools for collaboration, because that's what Flipgrid is all about. And in here, there's Flipgrid information, as well as a couple of how-to videos. These are quick videos. How do I get started? And how do my students join a grid? If you're interested in any of our other tools, there's also the G Suite how-to videos for all of those Google apps like Docs and Forms and Sites and Slides and things like that. And if you're interested in some of the other apps, just click into the particular menu that it fits within. So Hangouts Meet, for example, would be in group discussions. Classroom, Google Classroom would be in learning management. And Loom would be in one-to-many. So that Loom app there for creating videos so that you can share from yourself to all of your students. So that's all there for you. If you're not finding what you're looking for, please don't hesitate to send me an email anytime. I'm usually able to respond within the day or at least by the next morning. And I'm here to help. That's why I'm here these days. And so I know that we're all in different places. But speaking about that, I want you to remember to proceed with curiosity and a sense of experimentation. We don't have the instruction manual for how to do this. It hasn't been created yet, and we're creating it as we proceed. So please find out what's working so we can share it. Find out what doesn't work so we can pivot and tweak, and share this mindset, this growth mindset with your students, because they're going to need that, that perspective, that positive perspective on how to proceed and how to find the things in this experience that we're going to take with us to make us better teachers, better learners, and better citizens, I think. And it'll be interesting, I think, to see what sticks, even when we're back in classrooms in September. Maybe things like Flipgrid and Hangouts Meet and things like that are actually things that help us to empower our teaching and learning, even when we're back in person. Anyway, that's my soapbox for today. Let me know if you have any final questions. I'm here to help. And otherwise, have a fantastic morning, a fantastic Friday. Thanks.
Thanks, Cam. Have a good weekend.
My pleasure. Yeah, you too.
Thanks, Cam.
My pleasure, Glenn. Thanks.
Cam, that was really good.
Thanks, Catherine. I'm gonna post this recording in on that intranet. I'm just gonna stop the recording here. But it's been a bit of a queue to line up for adding things to the intranet.